and the local group leading new research on brain tumors. Diane joins us in just a little bit. Thanks for joining us tonight on this Monday. I'm Rob Elgis.
And I'm Karen Jordan. We are watching a winter storm that could impact your holiday travel plans this week.
Meteorologist Larry Mowry joins us now with the ABC 7 AccuWeather alert forecast. Do you have a special icon for what might be coming on the 5-day?
If you had an icon that shows wind, blowing snow, and extreme cold, it would be a big icon. It would take up the whole map, I think. Yeah. But it's going to get messy later this week. That's what's happening for Thursday night into Friday. Before we get to that, I just want to show you that right now we've got temperatures in the mid to low 20s, and there's a little batch of light snow moving towards the I-39 corridor. This will be sweeping off to the north and east, so there could be a dusting of snow, especially northern DeKalb County, Boone County, McHenry County. You might pick up a little snow as we go deeper into the evening. But the potential for a big snow and high winds and cold temperatures comes our way for Thursday into Friday. In fact, our winter storm watch begins Thursday evening at 6 p.m., continues until Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Here's kind of the breakdown on what it's expected here. The timing, well, the heavy snow will start later in the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday, with the very worst conditions Thursday night through the day on Friday. When I say worst conditions, I mean the highest winds, the coldest temperatures, and the heaviest snow coming down. A blizzard conditions are kind of expected for us during this time frame, with gusts above 55 miles per hour, blowing snow, and the possibility of power outages as well. How much snow do we get? Well, it's too early to know for sure, and in some regards the snow totals are kind of lower priority than the wind and the cold air coming our way, but I do anticipate major travel impacts, as potentially 6 to more than a foot of snow could be possible from this storm system. We'll see here a start of rain on Thursday for parts of the area, then a switch over to snow with strong gusty winds and plunging temperatures for us during the day on Friday. Here's another look at the current radar, though. Some flurries and light snow tonight. We'll talk more about the bigger snows later this week and those really cold temperatures all coming up.
All right, Larry, thank you. The House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol holds its public hearing. The panel is urging the Justice Department to bring criminal charges against former President Trump.
ABC's Ike Ajaji joins us live from Capitol Hill tonight with more. Ike?
Yeah, Rob, Karen, these hearings provided a stage for the panel to explain why former President Donald Trump should be held accountable for his alleged actions on January 6th, as well as why he should not be allowed to hold elected office again. Tonight, in its final public hearing, the House Select Committee making clear they believe the evidence they've revealed through their investigation shows former President Donald Trump was responsible for the events surrounding the deadly January 6th Capitol attack.
Among the most shameful of this committee's findings was that President Trump sat in the dining room off the Oval Office watching the violent riot at the Capitol on television.
According to the panel's executive summary that was released to the public shortly after the hearing, the committee is referring former President Trump, his former election attorney John Eastman, and others to the Department of Justice for possible criminal prosecution. They said the referrals to the DOJ are based on several criminal charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States, obstruction of an official proceeding, and inciting an insurrection.
Ours is not a system of justice where foot soldiers go to jail and the masterminds and ringleaders get a free pass.
The panel is also referring 4 Republican members of Congress to the Congressional Ethics Committee for not complying with lawfully issued subpoenas from the committee. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, Representatives Jim Jordan, Scott Perry, and Andy Biggs. The panel playing a video montage highlighting key moments of testimony from witnesses, as well as new testimony from some of the former president's closest allies that suggests Trump tried to obstruct the committee's investigation.
One lawyer told a witness the witness could, in certain circumstances, tell the committee that she didn't recall facts when she actually did recall them.
Now, although the DOJ maintains its independence from the committee's work, sources tell ABC News they are interested in transcripts from the committee's witness interviews, as well as any evidence that shows Trump or his allies attempted to contact witnesses. Rob, Karen, back to you.
Ike, thanks for joining us live tonight at 7. The sister of Chicago police officer accused of taking part of the January 6th attack was arrested this morning on charges connected to the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Agnes Cheswick appeared in court this afternoon. Prosecutors say she attended President Trump's rally with her brother Carol. And then the two walked to the Capitol, made their way inside through a broken window. Cheswick's brother awaiting trial and has been relieved of his police powers by CPD.
Updating breaking news from earlier this evening. Police say a man has died after a shooting in a Mariano's parking lot on West Chicago Avenue. Police say the man was sitting in a car when two people pulled up in another car, got out and fired shots. The victim died of his injuries. Police have not said if they've made any arrests.
The students at a Southwest Side high school walking out of class today over security fears following a deadly shooting last Friday. Happened right in front of Benito Juarez High School. Now students at the Pilsen School having a tough time coming to grips with this violence. And Stephanie Wade reports.
Lots of emotions here today. The school walkout lasted about an hour. Dozens of students surrounded this now growing memorial you see here behind me, currently being lit by candlelight right now after 4 teens were shot, 2 of which were killed on school grounds Friday.
It's just really gloomy inside. It's a really hard moment for all of us.
Students at Benito Juarez Community Academy returning to school Monday, just days after 4 teens were shot as classes were being let out Friday. 15-year-old student Brandon Perez and his friend, 14-year-old Nathan Villegas, a student at Chicago Bulls College Prep, were killed.
It's just like traumatizing. I couldn't even sleep at night just replaying that same image in my head.
Student Camila Lopez was there that day, a close friend of Brandon's.
After that, I was looking through our messages and it was just crying. He was too pure. He's too sweet for this world. I can't imagine how his mom feels.
I had one class with him. It was my last class, and the day that it happened, that's the class that I had with him. And I just can't imagine that was going to be the last time I was going to see him.
Kaya Vaughn organized the school walkout. Students and advocacy groups taking turns on the microphone, sharing their thoughts and feelings, and releasing balloons to honor the 2 lives lost. Vaughn says she wants school administrators to address ongoing violence and what she calls gang activity around the school.
For people who aren't in gangs, honestly, it's scary for us to come here every day. I have to know that there's people here that could be removed, and then they're just not.
I think the school needs to get the security up, to get obviously people to talk to them, because it's a healing process. There's many, it's not just me, it's many. He had many friends, and I know they're traumatized.
And Chicago Public Schools says their students have a strong voice and they support how they're choosing to use it. CPS says they have grief counselors here all week. Reporting in Pilsen tonight, Stephanie Wade, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Police are looking for the man who shot a teenager on a CTA train. Surveillance video from early yesterday morning shows the suspect with a gun in his hand. This happened at the Cermak Chinatown station. At last check, the 16-year-old victim is in serious condition. And the city of Chicago is launching a pilot program that provides financial assistance to families of victims of gun violence. Families in 5 specific neighborhoods will be eligible for the payout. Those neighborhoods are Inglewood, West Inglewood, New City, and East and West Garfield Park. Payouts could reach $1,500 depending on what victims and their families qualify for.
17-year-old girl killed in a crash in Chicago's Fuller Park neighborhood's been identified. Medical examiner says Samaya Williams died in this wreck, which happened just after 1 this morning. Police say Williams was in the minivan that hit a center median on West 51st near Shields. 5 other people were inside that van, too. All of them are okay. It's not clear right now who was driving. Chicago police investigating this crash that sent a car into 2 businesses in Westridge. Look at that. This near Devon and Sacramento. Looks like the driver hit the businesses before slamming into a wall. Crews towed the car out, leaving behind, you hear it, that shattered glass, broken furniture, too. Police have not said what caused the driver to crash. Look at this. This was the scene at a monument in Lincoln Park earlier today. Pickup truck reported as stolen, crashed into that statue. Police say they were trying to pull the vehicle over near Sheridan Road in Diversey. Officers say at one point jumped a curb, slammed into that monument. 3 people were arrested.
A huge outpouring of support for an Illinois state senator who died suddenly last week. Memorial services were held on the University of Illinois campus in Urbana for Scott Bennett. The 45-year-old died last week from complications due to a large brain tumor. Bennett, who was from Champaign, had served the state's 52nd district since 2015, holding positions on the higher education and agriculture committees. He also played a key role in getting the state's Safety Act amended. He leaves behind his wife and 2 children.
The Supreme Court temporarily blocking an order that would end Title 42. That's the Trump-era policy that was set to expire Wednesday. It allows immigration officials to automatically expel migrants attempting to seek asylum here in the U.S. The temporary stay comes in response to an emergency appeal filed by 19 conservative-led states. The decision offering some relief as cities like Chicago prepare to deal with a renewed influx of migrants.
What we need to do as an organization and as organizations is get ready, make sure that we are training people, that we are vetting people, and that we have a big network that is able to help out.
Unclear how long it will take the Supreme Court to rule on the appeal.
A suburban church is trying to figure out why thousands of dollars of gift cards for families in need didn't work. The pastor at Firehouse Chapel says the church bought 130 gift cards worth $100 each to be redeemed at Sam's Club. But after handing the cards out, they started getting calls that the cards were not working.
We gave them $13,000 of God's money. It was not my money, it's church money. And we got 130 empty plastic cards.
Well, Sam's issued a statement saying, in part, we sincerely apologize for the inconvenience that we've caused. Due to an internal error, the gift cards were not activated when they were shipped. We're in the process of making sure all the gift cards get activated properly.
Some teachers at McClellan Public School on the south side are demanding CPS test every room for lead paint by Christmas Day. They say chip paint falling from walls and ceilings inside the school contains lead and is a serious health risk.
This is an unsafe situation and has been for a while. Through multiple capital improvements over the years, even the cancellation of summer programming, it doesn't seem like this situation has been resolved.
The CPS says it's already begun lead testing and remediation efforts at that school.
COVID hospitalizations are at their highest level in months. The Illinois Department of Public Health says more than 1,600 people have been hospitalized in the last week. That's the highest since mid-February.
Right now, there's a meeting underway to talk about the rebuilding of Ryan Field at Northwestern University. North Shore NAACP is hosting the event at Second Baptist Church. Northwestern University's president, athletic director, set to speak there. They'll answer questions about the new field, which is actually smaller than the current one, and the impact it'll have on the community.
A longtime judge is preparing to retire at the end of the month. Fellow judges honored presiding judge Michael Tuman today. He began his career as a defense attorney and became a judge in 1980. He presided over the 1987 trial of infamous Chicago gangster Jeff Fort. And more recently, he was the judge who appointed Dan Webb as the special prosecutor to handle the Jussie Smollett case. Tuman has been the presiding juvenile court judge for the last 12 years.
Our juvenile mentoring initiative to have mentors appointed for these kids who were in trouble. And that was the first thing we started.
Judge Tuman recently helped launch a $5 million grant program to help keep kids out of the juvenile court system. Now to a story of survival hitting close to our ABC7 family.
The spouse of our colleague Diane Pathieu is in the fight of his life. But thanks to new cutting-edge technology, that fight getting more precise. And we're getting an exclusive look inside the lab, bringing that unique science to patients like him across the Midwest and even the globe. Diane Pathieu explains how it could help tens of thousands of people battling a rare disease.
It's hard when someone puts an expiration date on you.
Just days before Christmas in 2020, my otherwise healthy, fit, vivacious husband, Nick Adamski, collapsed on the floor of our home from a massive seizure.
The only thing I remember was my right leg going up and shaking. Everything after that, I couldn't tell you anything.
When he missed his daily workout with my father, we knew something was wrong. He was rushed to Lutheran General Hospital. When I finally got inside, my whole body froze as the doctor said, "Your husband has a grade 4 glioblastoma, a cancerous brain tumor. He never had any symptoms. Soon he was bleeding from the brain and needed emergency surgery. Afterwards, he was frail, paralyzed on his right side, and developed a MRSA infection. But the surgeon said he removed the tumor. But that was just the beginning.
Ring this bell 3 times.
Nick regained use of his right side and then went through chemo and radiation. That's when he was told he had just over a year to live. Glioblastoma is so aggressive it hides behind healthy cells, only to reappear again and again. And it did, less than 9 months later.
How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
We went for another opinion at Northwestern Medicine,
We'll see kind of a bulkier appearance.
where we met with my husband's now neuro-oncologist, Dr. Remus Lucas.
In Nick's case, he had a lot of exciting things from a genetic perspective. And so one of them was the presence of something called an FGFR TAC3 fusion. This for us is exciting because it's a potential target. So there are drugs available which we can use.
Doctors performed cutting-edge technology called methylation profiling here inside of this lab, where we are getting an exclusive look to try and grasp what this could mean for patients that feel hopeless.
Methylation profiling is taking the genetic fingerprint of a tumor. We can more clearly identify exactly what kind of tumor it is. That will inform on the patient's ultimate prognosis, as well as any clinical trials that the patient might be a candidate for.
Northwestern Medicine is one of only a half dozen institutes across the country doing this type of testing routinely, and the only one in Illinois. Nick's testing revealed 2 genes that prompted treatment with a drug that normally treats metastatic bladder cancer. Within just a few months, it worked.
In Nick's case, we had a more favorable response because we had shrinkage of tumor over time. Lift your arms up directly in front of you.
There are some rough side effects, including the loss of finger and toenails, mouth sores, and more, but Nick says it's worth all of that. As a former Milwaukee firefighter, he has faced many challenges in his life and now is facing his toughest battle yet. He decided to share his story because he wants to continue to help people. After being told I'd lose him in a year or so, this week marks 2 years since his diagnosis. His new life's motto?
It's getting your mind positive, staying in a good mood, telling yourself that you can do this.
PMA, as he calls it, positive mental attitude.
What was the motivation behind that?
You, first off, my family. It was all about family, really. It really was. I'm not going to plan a funeral. I'm going to plan to get better.
You'll see her in the morning, but Diane is joining us tonight at 7. It's great to see you via Zoom. Diane, how are you?
Really good. I'm just really happy that I got a chance to talk to you guys. I feel like I haven't seen you forever, and here we are together again, and hopefully sharing an informational story for everybody watching.
And that's what we wanted to start with, Diane. Why are you sharing Nick's story with us right now?
Well, let me tell you, it took us a long time, Rob, to get to this point. The decision had to be Nick's. When he was ready to share, he was going to. We were waiting for stable scans in order for us to share this technology with others. Then when we found out that Northwestern is welcoming tissue samples from across the globe. So if you don't live in Chicago, if you don't live in the state of Illinois or in the Midwest, and you wanted to go through this methylation profiling, if let's say you have a brain tumor or know somebody that does, we wanted to be sure to put the story out when that was made possible. And now it is. And it's just such an exciting technology, not made available everywhere. But now it is. And that's Nick's whole philosophy in life has been to help people. And this is a new opportunity, a new way of doing that by sharing an extremely personal story.
And Diane, you're telling the story, like you said, on the anniversary of when this first happened to Nick. Can you walk us back to the day that you found out what you were feeling and how Nick was feeling?
It was seriously so traumatic. I mean, I was on the anchor desk. It was a couple days before Christmas, and it was in the morning. It was like 8-something in the morning. My dad kept calling me because they normally met at around 7:15 to work out together, and Nick wasn't answering the door, which was very unlike him. I was calling, he wasn't picking up the phone, which was very unlike him. We both knew something was wrong, and when we finally got him on the phone, he was trying to dial 911, and instead he heard my voice and said to me, "I need help." And that's obviously when I ripped out my earpiece, my microphone, I ran off the set. You know, my dad called the ambulance. It was just such a chaotic scene. And it was sort of like the shock of my life because I wasn't expecting brain cancer. I don't know what I was expecting, but I certainly was not expecting stage 4 glioblastoma. I mean, that was a really traumatizing moment. And I think Nick I mean, he tells me to this day, he doesn't even remember what happened. And maybe that's a good thing. But the whole thing was just extremely traumatic. And for those people that are either going through it, because people have been sharing their stories with us, and we certainly appreciate that, it can be just so difficult to go through, and to know that you're not alone, you know, even if there's just two people who are going through it like Nick and I are, and there's somebody we can talk to, which we have been tonight, that means a lot to us.
And can I just say something real quick? You have been doing, you know, experiencing that while yet coming to work and carrying on. I mean, because that's what you have to do, but you have been doing it with such grace. And so you're my hero, finding out everything that you're dealing with, knowing that as soon as you leave from work, then you and Nick are handling everything. So, I mean, that had to have been, how did you get yourself through that?
It's still challenging to make, you know, to do a full shift and then make the afternoon appointments. It can still be very, very challenging. But, you know, it was very important to me to continue to put on a brave face, because I think this is what I personally learned through this journey, is that, and I think we all know this, Rob and Karen, through our jobs, everybody's going through something, right? And they always put on a brave face and go about their day. Everybody's going through something. And that's sort of how I took it. I'm not the only one going through this. Nick isn't the only one going through this. I can't crumble. I'm not going to crumble. He needs somebody to lean on, and we lean on each other. He needs somebody to take him to appointments, to retain a lot of information. That can be very difficult at times because it's a lot of information. So I just sort of, you know, we are very good at compartmentalizing as reporters and anchors. And that's sort of what I do every day in order to stay strong for him, because that's really the only thing that matters.
Well, you're not compartmentalizing anymore, sharing the story, and it is so incredible because people can relate to both of you. But we have to ask, how are you doing? But how is Nick doing? Here we are 2 years later, and you started that story with him saying you got an expiration date, and no one wants to hear that, but he's defying the odds. Tell us what he's up to now and what the two of you are dealing with.
I really think it's one day at a time, because that's the thing with this cancer. You can never, ever let your guard down. So yes, we can stand here and celebrate our 2-year, you know, post-diagnosis anniversary, and we plan to, but we're also not going, oh, that's it, it's all over, because that's just foolish. So you still continue the fight. And his doctors, by the way, his team think the exact same way. We are still powering through and fighting and staying positive and staying the course. And more technology is coming to the surface. And you know what? If that's part of my duty now, is to bring that technology to light and share with others, I consider myself very lucky.
Yeah, talk about that for a minute here. The groundbreaking technology at Northwestern Medicine. What can you share with our viewers about that?
It sounds really complicated, methylation profiling, right? But basically, there's genetic testing, there's next generation sequencing, and then there's this methylation profiling, which Northwestern has been doing. It was a year in November, so a little more than a year. It's extremely unique, and the best way I can describe it is they're taking a sample of these tumors and kind of looking at the DNA and the fingerprint. The doctor explained it to me like the FBI looks at a fingerprint, and every fingerprint is different. And that's what they're looking at. That's what they're analyzing in such a different way. Only a handful of hospitals are doing this because the education, the research just isn't there yet. So the fact that we have this in our own backyard is phenomenal. I said this in the piece, but I'll say it again. If you don't live here, it's okay. You can send in your tumor tissue. Remember, you own your tumor. That's yours. You can send in tissue to Northwestern, and they will study it and give you those genetic results.
That's amazing. And along the way, you came to know about the American Brain Tumor Association. Can you tell us about that organization and what they're doing, the kind of research they're doing?
So the American Brain Tumor Association, and we as Chicagoans should be extremely, as Illinoisans should be extremely proud of this organization, because it was founded here in Illinois by two moms with two daughters who had brain tumors. One of them, by the way, did have glioblastoma, and she passed away at a very young age, the daughter did. The two moms said, who do we turn to? We have nobody to turn to for support, for any research, for any clinical trials, nothing, no one. Doctors can't help you with everything. So they teamed up created the American Brain Tumor Association, and in March of 2023, the organization is celebrating its 50th year, and with that, they're going to make a pledge. They're going to start a 5-year, $50 million fundraising pledge in hopes of sharing all of that money with brain tumor research and education and helping patients and caregivers with whatever it is that they need, which I think is just so superb. And I'm so happy that we got the opportunity to meet with Ralph, the president of the organization, as well as other people who work alongside him. It really is so phenomenal.
Diane, one last quick question. When are you going to sleep?
Yeah, that's a great, I don't, if I have bags under my eyes tomorrow, you guys, no comment, okay?
No, get some rest. We'll see you again tonight at 10, right?
That's right.
And then in the morning again. Best to the crew and to you and to Nick. You have moved all of us. Karen was mentioning it earlier. It's just an incredible thing that the both of you are doing.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
amazing. Our
Thank
best
you all
to you
so
and
much.
Nick. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You know, it's nice to talk to her tonight at 7 here. Coming up, meet the teacher nominated for a Grammy. Who's making Chicago proud? That story's just ahead.
But first, winter storm as you hit the road for the holidays. Larry Mowry's tracking it for us next. All right, we're back, and we have been keeping our eyes on eyes to the skies because we know later this week we are going to be hit with a doozy, Rob.
Yeah, you wonder if we'll be able to see the skyline come Friday. Larry Mowry's here on this Dream Team sorting it all out for us, Larry. And early on you were saying it's going to be cold, but now we got more than that we got to deal with.
Yeah, it's a certainty it's going to get cold and probably pretty windy for us too. The amount of snow we get is still somewhat of a wild card. Right now it looks like we could get a wallop of snow for Thursday night through the day on Friday. And really we're anticipating pretty poor travel conditions starting Thursday evening through the day on Friday. And because of that, we now have a winter storm watch in place from 6 p.m. Thursday all the way through Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Here's kind of the breakdown on what to expect. So the timing is, again, from Thursday evening through Saturday morning. But the worst of the weather looks to occur Thursday night through the day on Friday. When I say worst of the weather, I'm talking about the heaviest snow, the highest winds, and the coldest temperatures coming our way. And we'll have blizzard conditions during that time frame with very high winds, potentially greater than 55 miles per hour. That, of course, with falling snow and snow on the ground will create very, very poor visibility, near zero in some cases. And then the extreme cold settles in for Friday too, with air temperatures in the single digits and wind chills 20 to 30 below is what it'll feel like during the day on Friday. So here's how this plays out, at least right now, according to our Futurecast. This is the European model. We may actually start with a little bit of rain from the city to the east during the day on Thursday. To the west, it would start as snow. So that rain-snow line is looking to set up right over top of us. Eventually, everyone will change to snow as the colder air wraps in, and that cold air will be with us all through the day on Friday. We'll start Friday morning with heavy snow and brutally cold temperatures, also very high winds. And notice how the snow sticks around through the day on Friday. The snow will taper off Friday night to Saturday, but it stays very cold and very windy for us all the way through the day on Saturday. All right, let's talk snow totals here because I know everybody wants to know how much snow we get. Well, I'm going to show you two different models with the caveat of this is still very, very early to give you specific snowfall totals, but I want to show you what the European does for us. It puts a bullseye right over top of us with 14 to 20 inches of snow. That's what the legend shows here for that area that's kind of in a purple coloring, or darker purple coloring, I should say. The GFS model, almost identical with a bullseye right over top of us of 14 to 20 inches of snow. So does that mean this is going to happen? Not necessarily. What it kind of tells us is that somewhere here in our region, there will likely be some very heavy snow, potentially up to a foot or more of snow. Will that be us? Well, right now the models are suggesting it's us, but if the track of that low wanders back to the west or maybe farther to the east, it would cut down our potential for snow. So again, a little early to talk about specific numbers in terms of snowfall totals, but the threat is there for really significant snow. But the greater concern, at least right now, outside of the snow totals, will be the extreme cold weather coming our way. These are wind chills for us Friday morning. It'll feel like it's 20 to 30 below Friday morning, and wind chills will stay 15 to 25 degrees below zero into the afternoon hours on Friday. So brutally cold temperatures. This evening, though, we're sitting at 26 degrees under cloudy skies. Everybody's in the mid to low 20s, and those temperatures will hold steady through the night tonight. But there's a little area of snow developing back to the west up here across northern DeKalb County, heading into Boone County, McHenry County. You've got some light snow coming your way, scattered snow showers down to the south and west as well. We could get a dusting to a coating of snow later this evening and overnight tonight. So there's the potential for some icy spots on the roadways. As you can see, temperatures tonight will hold steady in the mid to low 20s. Tomorrow we'll see patchy freezing drizzle during the day with a high of 32, 29 on Wednesday, then the AccuWeather alert for Thursday and Friday with the snow beginning Thursday, blizzard conditions possible on Friday, and brutally cold temperatures all the way through Christmas Day. We'll be dry on Sunday, but it's going to be cold with the high of 10 on Christmas Day.
You've got those icons, they just need to be a little bigger that we were talking about, right?
Yeah, they're kind of up there. I mean, I don't know if that really expresses just how bad it could get, though.
They'll get bigger as the week goes on.
We'll grow them.
Thanks, Larry. A holiday tradition back at Daily Plaza. Take a look. The giant menorah getting lit up this evening at the corner of Dearborn and Washington. That's right next to Chris Kindle Market. This is part of Jewish Hanukkah celebrations. The 8-night Festival of Lights began yesterday evening. Santa stopping by a CPS school today to thank students for their efforts to decorate one of his rides.
The students at Stagg Elementary created artwork that helped transform the CTA holiday bus. The bus travels around the city, giving riders a chance to interact with Santa and his elves. This morning, the kids got to do just that and check out their artwork inside the bus. Making Chicago proud tonight, a local teacher who is up for a Grammy Award.
Trevor Nicholas teaches music at Senn High School in Chicago. He's one of 10 music teachers from across the country who are now finalists for the 2023 Music Educator Grammy. He was selected from the more than 1,200 nominations that were submitted. Nicholas says it's his students who are truly behind the nomination.
This entire Grammy nomination is a we thing. It's not a me thing. We've done this together. The kids have given of their hearts and artistry to the projects that have been recognized on a national, international scale. And I believe that work, that honest communication from their hearts is what has gripped people and helped maybe my name surface at this time.
Good luck to Nicholas. We'll find out if he wins in February.
Let's hope so. That'll be an awesome thing.
We'll keep an eye on it. Still ahead as millions get ready to make holiday trips, gas prices finally bringing some good news.
Plus, police catch a woman stealing presents at Robert De Niro's home.
Preventing holiday disasters, easy ways to keep your family safe this Christmas.
Robert De Niro's New York City townhouse was burglarized overnight while the actor was at home. Police say they were following a woman who was wanted in connection with 6 other burglaries. Officers say that they spotted her breaking into De Niro's house and bagging up Christmas presents under the tree. Officers entered the home, and after hearing the commotion, De Niro came down the stairs. Police arrested 30-year-old Shanice Avalos on burglary charges.
Tonight, we're waiting for comment from Elon Musk after he polled Twitter users on whether he should step down. 57% of his followers voted yes, with 43% voting no. Musk said he would abide with the results, but has not commented on the results.
Well, just days after the final episodes of their docuseries hit Netflix, Harry and Meghan have a new project with the streaming site.
It's called Live to Lead, and it premieres later this month.
This was inspired by Nelson Mandela, who once said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived.
It is what difference we have made to the lives of others."
Live to Lead is a partnership with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. The 7 episodes will feature interviews with world leaders inspired by the legacy of Nelson Mandela. Toy sales obviously surge this time of year.
But it seems not all toys are being bought for kids. That's ahead.
Many injuries and deaths associated with celebrating the holidays can be prevented.
Consumers can avoid danger while purchasing toys for children, cooking that holiday feast, or decorating homes. Jason Knowles has a quick tip for families to stay safe this holiday season.
Hi everybody, here's a holiday safety quick tip. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says many injuries and deaths associated with celebrating the holidays can be prevented. Check when purchasing toys. In 2021, there were more than 152,000 toy-related emergency department injuries to children under 15, including 2 deaths. Follow age guidance and other safety information on toy packaging. Be careful while cooking. Cooking fires remain the #1 cause of residential fires. Never leave cooking food unattended on the stove or in the oven. Only fry a turkey outside and far away from your home. Beware of dangerous decorating. Putting up holiday lights and decorations around the home and fireplace are common. However, dry Christmas trees, burning candles, and busted holiday lights can lead to dangerous and even deadly fires. Make sure your live Christmas tree has plenty of water and look for the fire-resistant label on your artificial tree. Jason Knowles, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Jason, thank you. Gas prices are falling just as millions are set to hit the road for the holidays. The national average now $3.14 a gallon. This is according to AAA. It's down 12 cents in the last week. Illinois had one of the largest weekly drops in prices, going down 15 cents in the past week. However, prices here are still higher than other states are seeing, averaging $3.30 a gallon.
Toy sales typically boom around the holidays, and this year people are not just buying them for kids. Adults want toys as well. Ages 18 and older represented 14% of toy industry sales for the year ending in September, and that's up 19% over the previous year, according to market research group NPD Group. And companies are taking notice. Lego now has 100 sets made for adults. And Mattel and Build-A-Bear are also selling products aimed at adults.
I'm right there in that statistic.
You want some Legos?
Oh, my son's 17. He was shopping for a charity. You take a toy into school, right? And it was this little construction set, and it goes up and down. And I think he's not taking it to school so he can keep it for himself.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool toys out there for us adults. Shark births at the shed have researchers stunned. The rare occurrence there that's being studied now.
Plus, one of the shed's most famous animals is about to celebrate a big birthday. Larry.
Oh, happy birthday. Yeah, we got a winter storm watch coming our way later this week. Starts Thursday evening at 6 p.m., continues until Saturday morning. Big storm coming our way. The potential is there for some very cold air, high winds, and maybe a lot of snow, too. We'll talk about it coming up.
Right here. He's coming to check out
Wellington, the world famous penguin at the Shed Aquarium, turns, get this, Karen, 35 tomorrow.
What?
Yes, that's about triple the average lifespan for a rockhopper penguin. Wellington became a viral star during the height of the COVID pandemic. Remember? Pandemic, because he used to roam the shed's empty halls. There he is. Cute. Caretakers plan to give Wellington and his penguin pals some special treats to celebrate tomorrow. They better.
35?
35.
Look at him.
He's pretty adorable. Yeah. Also making a splash at the shed, a pair of baby zebra sharks.
Wow, so they weren't born in the typical way, and now researchers are studying them. Sarah Schulte explains.
At 6.5 feet long, zebra sharks are one of the largest species at the Shed Aquarium. The Indonesian endangered animals have been a fixture at the Shed's Wild Reef exhibit since it opened almost 20 years ago.
They started reproducing in 2004 and produced over 100 offspring here over the next 15 years. So we've had one of the most successful breeding programs anywhere in the world with this species.
The pups were all conceived with the help of male sharks until genetic testing was done on the offspring of a zebra shark named Bubbles. She is the first known at the Shed to reproduce by a process called parthenogenesis, meaning a virgin birth, where Bubbles fertilized an egg with her own genetic material.
We've always considered that parthenogenesis was basically like a Hail Mary, a female that wasn't with males, that she's trying to pass on her genes.
While zebra sharks are a species that can asexually reproduce, it is rare. And researchers say even more unusual is Bubbles chose parthenogenesis even though she was exposed to 3 mature breeding males.
But now the question becomes why? Why is that? Did she not like them? Were they not pretty enough? We really don't know.
Field Museum genetic researcher Kevin Feldheim says the question must be answered for the survival of zebra sharks. He says virgin birth pups have low rates of survival. The 2 born to Bubbles died.
If parthenogenesis is occurring at a very high rate, then that's not a good thing because we want a lot of genetic variation of the individuals that we put back into the wild.
The Shed Aquarium plays a key role worldwide in the conservation of zebra sharks. The extremely rare discovery about Bubbles was recently published in a new study. Through continued genetic testing and observation, researchers here at the Shed and Field Museum are hopeful that someday they can answer some of the biological unknowns about zebra sharks. Researchers say their new study is just the beginning. At the Shed, Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
So she chose to reproduce without the help of the 3 other zebra sharks in the tank.
It's fascinating. There's so much we still don't understand about animals, and it's wild that it's happening right here. We can study it just off Lake Michigan during the winter, too, Karen.
Exactly.
Pretty wild, yeah.
Well, Mariah's major moneymaker. How her Christmas hit success means big profits for the singer.
Huge profits. Plus, E.T. gets a new home after someone buys him at auction. Ooh, baby. Well, Cheryl sings usually, clearly. I don't. Mariah's chart-topping holiday, All I Want for Christmas Is You, is a massive moneymaker. Between downloads, streams, and views, the song brought in $1.36 million for Carrie and her label. This is according to Billboard estimates. By the way, that money was just last year. And here in the United States, and the song is also a hit internationally. So combine that. The Queen of Christmas is loaded.
Oh, man.
Do you
I
like
can
it?
only imagine what it's going to be this year. 1.5 million, maybe? Wow.
Lots, yeah. I like the song. I don't know if you do.
I do, but this is interesting. Apparently not everyone loves Mariah. All I Want for Christmas Is You topped the list of the most annoying holiday songs, according to a survey Finance Buzz did of more than 1,200 adults. Coming in at number 2 on that list, I do agree with this one, the Chipmunk song, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Christmas Don't Be Late. Number 3, Feliz Navidad. I like that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, the group also polled people's favorite holiday songs, and here in Illinois, the top pick was It's the Most Wonderful Time of Year. I don't know about that one.
When did you start listening to Christmas music?
As a kid, Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I have that album downloaded. But I mean, this year. Like, I remember I started right after Halloween, and I was ridiculed, and I was pretty much marched out of this studio.
Yeah, well, yes, you should have been. You should have been. I didn't start until the day after Thanksgiving. I held off on purpose.
But here we are in a week. We can't do it again for like 330 days.
That's why you build the anticipation
You build up.
again.
Yeah. I've been streaming just some Christmas jazz on the way home. It's really just, it's very nice.
Very nice. I like that.
Keep doing it, yeah. We were just talking about this movie earlier. Avatar, The Way of Water, made big money at the box office this weekend, but it fell short of expectations. Here's the numbers. The film made $134 million domestically. It was expected to earn $150 to $175 million. The film earned $300 million internationally. James Cameron has said the film needs to be the 3rd or 4th highest grossing film in history to break even, which means it needs to earn more than $2 billion.
Well, I don't know if it's going to get my money right away. I'm just going to wait.
Well, and it seems like one you got to see in the theater, but we were all talking in the break, it's like 3+ hours long.
Right. That's a commitment. I mean, who has a whole afternoon?
Right. And then Michelle got it here. It said, she's our producer, Michelle. It said, and then the previews, that adds like another 15, 20 minutes at least.
Right.
And that's sometimes the best part of the experience.
So true. So true. That's a lot. Well, another big movie from over the summer, Top Gun Maverick. It's finally streaming this week. The biggest film of the year is set to land on Paramount Plus this Thursday. It was released in theaters only back in May and became the highest grossing film of the year, earning more than $1 billion worldwide. Did you see it?
I still have not seen it. What?
With
me? I know. I've been waiting for it to stream so I can watch it at home. You did. I remember you saw it early, if I remember.
We did. Yes, we saw it back in June. So
loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it was good nostalgia. Just sort of brought back the memories.
Which is what a sequel should do. Hopefully.
Yeah.
E.T. just sold for $2.56 million at auction. This is the original animatronic alien from the 1982 Steven Spielberg movie. E.T. was considered an engineering masterpiece at the time with facial expression and neck movements, plus those big eyes. The alien melted hearts around the world. The film won 4 Oscars, including Best Visual Effects. It was so awesome.
It was. And I just remember crying like a baby.
Yes. And then when the government showed up in all those white suits and they quarantined him inside, I mean, I was really scared.
It was traumatizing almost.
Yes. And then remember we talked about a sequel, or people did, and they did that commercial where it was kind of a sequel. I don't know if you ever saw that, like around the Super Bowl, but they've never done a sequel to E.T. I always thought that would be cool.
That would be interesting.
Could still do it, right? That was a good one.
Well, you know, I think we're going to be getting our movies together as the week goes on because, Larry, it sounds like we're going to be snowed in.
It's a possibility, yeah. I mean, it looks like that Thursday night through Friday time frame is going to be very, very messy for us with brutally cold temperatures, very high winds, and the threat for some really significant snow. We have a winter storm watch in place from 6 p.m. Thursday through Saturday morning at 6 a.m. And the concerns here are for some very heavy snow, high winds, and really, really cold temperatures. Now, I think the worst of the conditions will be Thursday night through the day on Friday. When I say the worst conditions, I'm talking about the most snow and the highest winds. Blizzard conditions will be possible with gusts of 55+ miles per hour. That'll create blowing snow and drifting snow, and power outages will be possible too with winds that high. So be prepared for the possibility of losing power Thursday night through the day on Friday. In terms of snow amounts, it's still very early because the track of the low is yet to be determined, but anywhere from 6 to 14+ inches of snow is what some of my forecast models are suggesting. And of course, that would have major to almost impossible travel impacts for us, especially during the day on Friday. So here's kind of the evolution of this when we look at our futurecast. This is early Thursday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures may be at or above freezing for a couple of hours during the day on Thursday, at least from the city off to the east. The rain-snow line will likely be draped somewhere across our area, snow out to the west, and then that will change to all snow for everybody as we head into Thursday evening and Thursday night with crashing temperatures and very heavy snow coming down Friday morning. Very high winds throughout the day on Friday with more snowfall. And then as we head into Friday night, the snow tapers off, but our temperatures stay very, very cold through the day on Saturday. So how much snow do we get? Well, let me show you 2 different models. This is the European model, and it shows a bullseye right over top of us of 14 to 20 inches of snow. The GFS model, very similar, right over top of us, 14 to 20 inches of snow. So does this mean we get 14 to 20 inches of snow? Not yet. We can't say yet that we're going to get that much snow because that track of that low, if it wanders back to the west or maybe pushes farther to the east, will have a great impact on who gets the most snow. But what the models tell us when something like this happens is that the threat is there for some very high snow totals for us as we go through the day on Friday. And I mentioned the cold weather coming coming in, and I showed you those temperatures in the single digits on Friday. Well, wind chills Friday morning will be 20 to 30 below, and those wind chills will stay anywhere from 15 to 30 below, even into the afternoon on Friday. Roll into Saturday morning, wind chills still 10 to 20 degrees below zero, and even through the day on Saturday, wind chills will stay below zero. So this is some brutally cold air coming our way. Tonight we've got temperatures in the 20s. It's 25 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Mid to low 20s out across the western suburbs as well. But there's some light snow showing up on Live Doppler 7 Max radar. Very light snow, some flurries, maybe a dusting to a coating of snow possible overnight tonight. That could create some slippery spots, but temperatures are going to hold in the mid to low 20s overnight tonight. 25 here in the city. Tomorrow 32. There could be some patchy freezing drizzle tomorrow, then quiet and calm on Wednesday before the storm rolls in Thursday into Friday. Snow begins Thursday. Blizzard conditions possible on Friday, and that cold weather sticks around all through early part of next week with a very cold Christmas Day, a high of 10, and morning lows for several nights down around 0.
Now, Larry, when do you think you can knock down snow totals? Another day or two?
Yeah, for sure by the time we get to Wednesday, we'll have a much better handle on it. But what will happen is the models will kind of fluctuate the next couple of days. Some will bring more snow, some will bring less snow. Until we get to about Wednesday, when we know the track of that low, that's when we'll have a better determination on the snow totals.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. I think. After years of playing the same lottery numbers, a man finally wins, not once, not twice, but 6 times?
After decades of playing the lottery, a Massachusetts man's numbers are finally lucky. Raymond Roberts bought 6 tickets with the same numbers, a combination of anniversaries and birthdays. This time he won. The game he played is called $25,000 a year for life. Multiply that times 6 and it's $150 grand a year.
Wow. Raymond's consistency pays off.
Yep. See, slow and steady wins the race. You got to believe it.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. For Larry Mowry, I'm Rob Elgas.
And I'm Karen Jordan. We will see you again tonight at 10 o'clock over on ABC 7.